Identify the tag structure. Gabby here from bootcamp.com. This video will be discussing some of the external features of the lungs. So as we know, we have two lungs. We have one right lung and one left lung that both sit within the thoracic cavity to allow for breathing. They're responsible for expanding as we exhale to let in oxygen that will eventually get transferred to our blood and redistributed to our body and to our tissues. It's also responsible for shrinking a little bit and allowing us to exhale any toxins and metabolic byproducts that we've built throughout our actual day-to-day. Now, depending whether you're on the right or the left side, there can be some variability in their appearance. The first thing is size. So the right lung is generally larger than the left lung. And I want you to pause for a second and think why that would be. And I want you to think what other organ or what other structure is found on the left side of the body. So the reason that the left lung is a lot smaller than the right lung is due to the presence of the heart on the left side. So the heart does take up space on the left side of the thoracic cavity, so the left lung is generally smaller than the right. So the lungs themselves can actually be divided into lobes. These lobes are another way for us to tell whether we're looking at the right or the left. So because the right lung is bigger, it actually contains 3 lobes, whereas the left only contains 2 lobes. So if we have a look at this specific image here, I want you to pause and think which is the right and which is the left lung. So if you got it correct, this one right here is the right lung, and this one over here is the left lung. So the way that I know this, right, I can see one lobe here, I can see another lobe here, and then a third lobe here. And then for this guy on the left or on the right of this image, for the left lung, I can see one lobe here and the second lobe here. And these lobes are all named relative to their position. So we have a superior lobe that is found more superiorly and medially, right? So medial is over here. The hilum will be over here where all the structures will be entering and exiting the lung, like the pulmonary arteries and veins, as well as the bronchi. And then we have the inferior lobe, which is found more inferior and more lateral. In the cases of the right lung, we still have a superior lobe and an inferior lobe, but because we have a third one that sits in the middle, this is going to be the middle lobe. And in between these lobes, we have these fissures that separate them. And these fissures are basically named based on their directions. So we have one fissure here that separates the superior lobe and the middle lobe of the right lung. We have another fissure here that separates the inferior lobe, right, which is right here, with the middle lobe and the superior lobe. And then we have this other one on the left side, which you can see since we only have 2 lobes, we only have one fissure that separates the superior and inferior lobes of the left lung. So as I said, these fissures are named based on their direction. This one travels more horizontally, right, more straight in this direction, versus the others, like this one and this one, travel more obliquely or on an angle. So these are named the oblique fissures. So in terms of our question here, identify the tag structure. Because this one is traveling on an oblique angle, this is going to be the oblique fissure.